Hey everyone, it's Kai again. Today I'll be talking about how to play on the internet. You have the Bushiroad remote play that some people have been playing with. I know in the Y circles, it's pretty decent. It lets us play with foreign players. Just make sure you know Japanese, or unless they know English, then that's okay. Don't just barge into the Japanese servers and go play me, play me, play me, play me, because they'll probably be going, what the hell is going on? So. I'll talk with you about some etiquette and some things, some quick notes about playing online. If you're a Vanguard player, maybe this does not apply as much because there are other ways for you to play on the internet. But if you don't like those ways, if you say niet to those ways of playing, then you want to play with your real cards, then sure, you can play the Bushiroad remote play way, which is basically just playing through Discord or any other video conferencing suite. And yeah, 2 players on there, and you just play with your own cards. I mean, it feels better. It feels better. It's not like you're clicking and pressing the keyboard all the time. You get to play physically with your cards. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's probably gonna be a long time before you can head to the card store again to play. So if you've bought cards recently, or if you're gonna buy Astral Force coming up, which is an absolutely amazing set, which is unfortunately coming out at a wrong period of time, then sure, you might want to play with it, and this is probably what you want to do, rather than goldfishing. Okay, so let's get started. Well, let's go through some of the tips and etiquette and manners on playing online. So I'm not going to go really deep into the technical details on how to set up your stream, but yeah, get a camera, get a mic, get a headset, make sure they're working. You can fire up the camera app on your Windows, or go to Discord and do the test camera thing there. Just make sure, maybe if you have a lot of people in your house causing a ruckus, like your mum telling you to do chores, turn on push to talk, so that we don't have to hear it. And yeah, just overall, it should be okay. You want to set up a play space. I have a mat here. You want to make it as clear as possible. You can see that my play space is not as clear as possible, so don't be me. You want to just adjust it so that pretend your opponent is playing opposite to you, and yeah, get a mat. The mat kind of just tells your opponent this is the play space that I'll be using, and it's all good, right? So other thing you want to do is you want to just test with the camera that there is no glare when playing. So you can just set up like set up your field. We have 6 field here, a drop zone, bunch of damage here, and then maybe there's like a card in Excel. And then yeah, deck there. So grab a color hand. So you can see it's generally okay. Generally okay. Maybe there's like an Excel circle here, and that's over here. You can kind of see it's getting a bit glary. So you might want to either move your cards around, move the camera a bit, just like, or put up like a wall, I guess, to stop the light. And then actually keep the space around your mat also kind of empty to give yourself as much room. So, like, let's say the end of turn happens, I can just put my hand down here and my opponent can see that I have a certain number of cards, rather than keep it like here and keep it in my hand and my opponent just doesn't know how many cards I have. Keep it low, give your opponent the information they need to play, because this isn't real life. It's not as free as real life, so everyone's in a bad circumstance, this is in a way, so you don't want to be power gaming or sharking your opponent over an internet casual game. So yeah, test out your field, make sure there's no glare, and make sure you have enough space to do things. So onto the other big topic is shuffling, is that unfortunately you cannot cut your opponent's deck when playing online. You just have to make sure your opponent is shuffling properly, and sometimes shuffling properly, there's a lot of people who don't shuffle properly, or they just do a very, very lame shuffle. It happens in Weiss, where the climaxes are a thing. Your opponent is refreshing the deck. They go 1, 2, 3, maybe a 4. We'll give it a 4. But it's a very, very lame and lazy shuffle 4, and they let your opponent cut. And that wasn't a shuffle. That was a terrible shuffle. This applies to real life as well when you're at a tournament. Basically, what you want to do is you want to mash your deck, right? Mash the crap out of your deck. All right, you see here, mash, 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 mash. All right. People say it might damage your sleeves. Their sleeves, they're meant to be mashed, I guess. It is one of the easiest ways to shuffle because it's pretty much grabbing two halves of your deck and putting them together. Alright? The only thing you have to be careful of a mash, especially when you got a big deck, like when it's double sleeved like this, is that sometimes when you mash, you're not mashing the bottom card of your deck. Alright, you see? I didn't do that. Alright? Again. So that can happen. That's not really a shuffle. So make sure you're just mashing everywhere. You're mashing everywhere. And then after you do some mashes, do some overheads. Cut the deck a bit, you know, then do a few more mashes. I think people say around 7 mashes is pretty randomized. So go for that. But do a combination of shuffles, including a mash shuffle, and it should be okay. Do it on stream, so your opponent can make sure your opponent can see this. So don't do it like this, all right? You're like, oh, I'm totally shuffling my deck, dude. Trust me. Don't do it like that. Put it on stream so you can see, and then he has at least the peace of mind that you're shuffling your deck. And it's easier to do it with single sleeves. Like these are dragon shields, so you just mash repeatedly this one, and it's very easy. And if your sleeves start getting damaged, then that's fine. That's what they're there for. You pay for sleeves to mash with, and it's time to get new ones. So make sure to do it. Do it in tournaments. If you're doing it to your opponent's deck, you're not destroying. You're not crushing their deck. You're mashing the deck. All right. So there's an art to it. You don't grab too hard to go slam. No. All right. Just let the cards easily slip through. Right. Easily just go through the deck. Done. Pretty much every single sleeve manufacturer has those matte backs, and they make mashing very easily. If you have character sleeves and you haven't oversleeved them with something, then you're doing character sleeves wrong. Get oversleeves. Usually the oversleeves have a nice back that lets you mash. See this one? Just let it slide. Let the mash flow, alright? Just let it flow. I'm not putting pressure on it. It just does it naturally, okay? So get oversleeves if you're using character sleeves. Even if you get the ones that don't have the matte back, even if they're just a clear back, they're also designed in such a way that it makes just mashing sleeves good. Alright, so pretty much everyone does good sleeves. Even the super cheap Ultimate Guard sleeves can mash properly. I think I've got some sitting around, maybe. I think here. My Claret deck. Oh, that's not the cheap one. Where is it? Oh, I don't know where it is. It disappeared. Claret's disappeared, boys. Oh no, here it is. Okay. So these are the super cheap Ultimate Guard ones, right? They're very flimsy. You can see like the paper, all right? They're pretty much paper, but they've got the matte back, and you can just easily mash. Just mash it. Okay, so mash, and done. All right, shuffle, and then mash again, and then see, if your opponent's happy, he'll be happy, you'll be happy, you can continue playing a game. If you're doing this in real life, just be careful with your opponent's deck if you're gonna mash it. Remember, you don't need to put pressure, just let it go through. Look away. One thing that in real life that I see people do is they look at their deck while shuffling. That is usually an indication that you're doing the dodgy. So try and look away and while you're doing a mash, and it should all be fine. But make sure to do it on stream. Make sure they can see it. That's a reason why you want a lot of space as well, because if your camera is just focused on your field, it's very hard to just shuffle over your field. And so give yourself a lot of space and just mash. So when we talk about shuffling, this always comes up. What about the pile shuffle? So the pile shuffle is just you making piles of cards, all right? Like this, yeah? Just want to say, this is not a shuffle. This is just rearranging cards. And after you do this kind of shuffle, you have to properly shuffle your deck. So you can't just pick up your cards and do the lame shuffle. Can't just do this, all right? And go, yeah, I've pile shuffled my deck, and then I shuffled my deck properly. That's not a proper shuffle. That's just a really lame shuffle, and you rearrange the deck. So you can be you can actually, in real life, in tournaments, if you present this to your opponent, they can tell you to reshuffle and maybe even call the judge and say you haven't shuffled your deck properly. So in the end, after you do a pile shuffle, you still have to do a mash shuffle anyway. So why bother? Why bother doing the pile shuffle? Just mash more. Mash more. I know people like to do the pile shuffle on their first shuffle before the game begins. Again, right? Why bother? You still have to do like a proper shuffle. So basically you have to do some variant of the mash shuffle. So you might as well just mash it. You might as well just mash it and save yourself time from all that pile shuffle. Like, if you pile shuffle online, it's just gonna make the game slower as well. So you might as well just mash. I know people have the excuse, yeah, pile shuffling. I do pile shuffling because I don't want to damage my sleeves. If you're that worried about sleeves, get more sleeves. And if you can't afford more sleeves, then mash softly, alright? So, not an excuse, don't do the pile shuffle. Just mash a deck, and all will be fine. So when you're actually playing the game, do it slowly. Do your actions one at a time so your opponent knows what you're doing. So like draw, announce it. Don't do too many shortcuts or your opponent might get confused. When you're gonna do specific actions, do things like announce your attacks. I'm attacking with my Vanguard. Announce the powers, and then if there's important effects, make sure to show them. So Claret Sword, he can restand. If you can't restand, maybe you want to point this out to your opponent. You go, I don't have 7 grade 1s in the drop zone, so I can't restand. So it helps him make decisions. It makes the game go faster in that respect. And it's just a nice thing to do when you're just playing these casuals with your friend online or anyone else online. If it's a tournament, you probably wouldn't have to do this. But because this isn't a tournament and it's just casuals and everyone's in the same suffering. So, just help them out with these kind of things. If they want to know if they want to know effects, just tell them the effect. If they want, like, they can Google it for sure. But yeah, be a nice guy or girl and announce the effect. As well as, you know, if they ask for drop zones, what's in the drop zone, just show them the drop zone. Like, pick up your drop zone, show them the camera. Maybe you want to point out, like, yeah, this 4 crits gone. There's only 4 grade 1s here. You know, you can check if it's counting triggers. You know, check damage here, and then things like even something simple like your hand, right? So here's my hand, divide in half, so they can go, you've got 6, there's 5, so I've got 11 cards in my hand. You can see it like that, yeah. So simple things, small things that will just help the game overall. The game will definitely go slower because things aren't accessible. Your opponent can't just reach through the screen, pick up the cards and read it himself. No, he can't do that. So if he needs to know something, just go, hey, what does that card do? What does that card do? And then you're going to have to pick it up, or you might not have to pick it up, but you have to read it to him, and he goes, oh, okay, I can understand that now. And things like that. So definitely go slower, put more time, allow more time to play the game, and just be less of a douche, I guess. Don't be a douche is a better thing. Help your opponent out, let him help you out as well, and the game should still stay fun. Lastly, just be respectful to your opponents. Don't focus on the game, and hopefully he can focus on the game too. That means both of you know what's happening in the game. You don't want to, even though everything now is somewhat accessible as well, like you can fire up a game on your other screen and start playing it during his turn while he's doing stuff, and then when he doesn't attack, you're like, what's going on? What did you do? Sorry, can you just repeat your whole turn? Don't be that guy. Other thing is, yeah, so I've mentioned keep your space tidy. You don't want to have things sitting around that you don't want people to see, like your credit card. If you do want to show off your credit card, let me know the number and I'll help you out. And maybe don't eat. Eating is bad. So if I have food, it sounds really weird. All right. If you've heard people crunching chips and stuff like that, you don't want to hear that the whole game. So if you want to eat, go eat. Don't play games. And yeah, just overall don't be disrespectful. I mean, be respectful to your opponent, and because you're all in it together. You're all in this together, and hopefully we can all get out of it together. Okay, so have fun, guys. It's gonna be a tough few months or tough rest of the year, depending on how things go. So we all have to find our ways to keep our entertainment levels high and enjoyment levels high too. So if you like to play in RL, then this is one of the ways. And if you don't want to play RL, there's always those Russian programs that you can play with. So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Das Vidanya. Ciao.